A quiet grocery store cart wrangler gets shamed during a tense Christmas Eve checkout, then surprises everyone by paying for a struggling mother's groceries out of his own repair money. The room shifts as others follow with small, practical kindnesses, and we learn he carries hidden burdens, including a broken truck and a daughter he's trying to show up for. The act sparks ripple effects that last beyond the night without anyone making a speech. Just a quick note before we begin. Hit like, share this with a friend, and subscribe for more. Also, let me know in the comments which country you're watching from. It always amazes me how far these stories travel. The cart guy pushed a line of metal carts through slush. His gloves were thin and damp. Salt bit his cracked knuckles. The parking lot lights threw a hard orange across the ice, and car exhaust hung like low fog. People slid past him, heads down, collars up. A truck honked because he was halfway across the aisle with his cart train. He mouthed sorry and kept moving. A paper bag split near the cart corral. Cans rolled in slow motion toward a drain. He knelt, gathered them, and fed them back into the bag like he was teaching them a trick. The woman who dropped them gave him a quick thanks without looking. The word broke apart in the cold air and went nowhere. He nudged the last can with his boot and stood. His radio crackled with a little burst of static. He kept the cart straight anyway. Inside, the speakers played Jingle Bell Rock too loud. The song had that tinny, painful ring that only big stores get. Fluorescent lights hummed. The floor near the door was a wet mat of boot prints. He pushed his train in, bumped it into the stack, and wiped his hands on his hoodie. He checked the time. The store was closing early for the holiday. An hour to go. At the end of lane 4, a woman counted bills twice. 2 kids stood on either side of her cart like small guards. One held a box of cereal to his chest. A baby slept in a car seat on the bottom rack. Pink hat tipped over one eye. The cart carried dinner and a few extras, 3 oranges, 2 boxes of mac and cheese, bread, soup, a cheap roast. The woman kept glancing at a folded card in her hand. The register flash con DECL'd in a flat grey box. The teen at the scanner swallowed hard. He pressed a key and tried again. Same grey box. A guy in a leather jacket 2 carts back sighed hard and looked at the clock. Someone behind him muttered about people not planning ahead. The manager stepped from the office, shoes clicking, name badge bright under the lights. A security guard eased closer, slow like he didn't want to get involved but knew he would. He heard himself say, "I got it." The words were out before he liked them. The teen looked up. The woman looked up. The manager looked straight at him like the words had bounced off a wall and hit her instead. He walked to the service desk and touched the time clock. He pressed the green button. The screen flashed a peep and a thank you that felt a little too cheerful. He took off his neon vest and folded it over the desk. He kept his hoodie on. He could feel his heart in his wrists. He slid his card in and waited for the beep. The total was $87.43. He noticed the number like he would notice a license plate. He didn't do math. He just stood there and waited. The beep came, and the teen's shoulders dropped an inch. The store felt different, like the lights had turned down even though they hadn't. People got quiet in that way, where you can hear every plastic bag rustle. The guy in the leather jacket looked at him, then looked away. The manager's mouth was a thin line, but she didn't say anything. The woman with the kids blinked fast. She wiped her face with the heel of her hand. No big speech, just a small thank you that was clear as glass. Outside, snow fell in slow, fat flakes. He took the cart's front handle and steered it toward a brown sedan with a tape-fixed taillight. The baby woke and gave a small, confused grunt. The boy passed him the oranges like they were a secret. The woman opened the trunk, and it was clean, like a room she could control. He loaded the bags in and closed it with his hip. "You didn't have to," she said. His breath made a cloud. He shrugged. He wasn't good with words. "Merry Christmas," she said, and she meant it in a simple way that made it land. He nodded once. He didn't add the part about the bill that was due. He didn't add the part about the truck he had been saving to fix. He patted the top of the baby's car seat, a polite little tap, and walked back through the snow. His truck sat 2 rows over with the hood latched, the red brake light always on. He had a note on his fridge with the shop's number and an estimate he had looked at too many times. He had planned to go in the morning, pay in cash, get the red light to shut up, drive to his daughter's place across town and drop off a glove his friend was holding for him at the pawn shop. The glove was a catcher's mitt. He still remembered how his palm felt when he caught a ball too high, that hot sting that meant it was good. He walked home on the plowed side, asked the big lit snowman at the tire shop His socks were wet in his boots. He passed a bus stop with no shelter and felt glad for the hood on his hoodie. He checked his phone even though he knew there'd be nothing new. He texted one word to a quiet thread. Almost. He didn't have to explain it to anyone but himself. His apartment was a basement studio with one small window at sidewalk level. You could see shoes walk by from the couch. The radiator hissed like it was telling a joke and then went quiet. He set his keys in a chipped bowl by the door and took off his boots. He peeled his socks off in one go and wrung them over the sink. His fingers were stiff and red. He poured water into a dented pot and put it on the stove. On the counter was a folded photo of a girl with a backpack too big for her. He didn't keep it out all the time, only when he needed to see her face bigger than his phone. The backpack had a patch of a softball on it. She had a hat pulled low. He had circled a date in a tiny calendar on the fridge. He had drawn a small star on Christmas, but not in pen. With a pencil. He could erase a pencil if he needed to. The phone buzzed on the table. A video call. He wiped his hands on a dish towel. The screen showed a living room with a tree. A woman held the phone, and the girl leaned in. She had a smear of frosting at the corner of her mouth. "Hey," he said, and his voice softened without trying. "Looks good." "We baked," the girl said. Her hair was longer than the picture. She had his eyebrows and her mom's mouth. "There's a game tomorrow morning pickup. Coach said I can borrow a mitt. It's fine." "That's good," he said. He was grateful for the borrow and felt sick about it at the same time. "I'll swing by after work." "You working tomorrow?" the woman asked from off-screen. "Not mean, just checking." "Yeah," he said. "Half day." He looked at the pot on the stove and turned the knob down. He didn't say what half of the day, or that it had changed 3 times. The screen wobbled. They showed him the tree. He told them about the snow. He kept it light. It was easy for a minute. Then the call ended, and the radiator kicked on like it had been waiting behind a curtain. Back at the store, the teen at lane 4 pulled a crumpled 5 from his pocket. A customer, in a thick coat, came up short on a rotisserie chicken. He slid the bill under the scanner without making a show of it. His hands shook almost as much as the woman's had. He didn't look up to see if anyone had noticed. He just bagged the chicken and said, "Have a good night." In the back office, the manager stared at the schedule grid. A pen tapped against Wednesday. She added 2 hours to a name she didn't say much to during the day. She looked toward the front and watched him push a wet mop under a fan of footprints. She put the pen down and rubbed her eyes with both hands. In a second-floor apartment across town, 2 kids dug in a toy bin. They sat on a striped rug and argued in bursts, and then went quiet. The boy took the little car he liked and set it down. "This one?" he said finally. The girl nodded. They wiped it off with a napkin they ran under the tap. Their mom found a donation box near the stairs. The boy put the car in and stood there for a second. He was nice. He said into the box, like it could hear him. The security guard held the door for a woman who had too many bags and not enough hands. He didn't crack a joke. He just held the door and said, "Take your time," like the sentence had weight. He watched her go to the lot and then went back inside without checking his phone. Later, the manager found a paper cup on the service desk with his name on it, spelled wrong. It had a coffee gift card taped to it and a note from someone at Lane 4's line. The note said only, "Please give this to the cart guy who paid. Thank you." She put it on the rack with the lost keys and the single glove and the child's hat with no owner. She didn't pull him back to the office. She didn't say corporate or policy. She just made sure the cup didn't fall. Rooms change when one person moves. The hum shifts. People stand a little different. The same song plays, but it feels less loud. He had not planned any of it. He had planned a repair and a half day and maybe a clean catch at a park. The catch might still happen. The repair could wait. The room had changed. He peeled a clementine by the window, and the spray brightened the cold air.